Hello everybody and welcome to the latest episode of the Rob Harkavy interviews only on Out News Global TV. Now today's guest is an accomplished actor with a hugely impressive screen and stage CV. She's soon to open in London's Soho Theatre in the West End in a brand new musical comedy called, intriguingly, the Ministry of Lesbian Affairs. So let's find out more by saying hello to the fabulous Mariah Louca. Hello, Mariah.
Hello, thanks for having me.
Thank you so much for joining us today, Mariah. Now, as part of my research, I've been on the gov.uk website, and it turns out that the Ministry of Lesbian Affairs is not actually a real ministry. Who knew? But it is a real musical comedy. So can you set it up for us? Tell us what it's all about.
Sure. So the show, The Ministry of Lesbian Affairs, is about a group of women who come together every week to practice choir. New members join, and so it expands the choir in terms of their size and the repertoire that they can now sing. And what we start to see through the musical numbers, through the interactions between the different choir members, is the solidarity, the relationships, the friendships, and some of the factions that start to appear and cracks that start to appear within the community, within the lesbian community, because all women who join the choir identify as lesbians.
That's really interesting, actually, because I think over the last sort of 10 or 15 years, with various television programmes like Military Wives with Gareth Malone and others similar to it, the public at large has become wise to the fact that singing in a choir is an especially uplifting experience. I wonder why that is. What do you think?
Well, I think music in itself is quite healing, isn't it? And I think that's a balm and an ointment for a lot of these women who come to the choir. And you see that in the show, that it actually gives them some sense of purpose, or it sort of it introduces something into their lives that perhaps is missing. And it's also about communing. It's about coming together. It's about being in those spaces. I mean, the really important thing that we're discovering in the room and you know, researching is that there is a lot of lesbian invisibility within the LGBTQIA plus world. That we do talk about a lot of different issues, whether it's in the headlines, you know, there's some quite contentious stuff that's taking place at the minute with trans rights and trans people, but lesbians do also seem to not really get their platform, and we just don't see those spaces. I think a shocking fact for me was that, as far as we're aware, there's one exclusive lesbian space in the whole of the UK, and that's in Soho in London. And that's staggering. That is staggering. So where do these women go? Where do they come together? Where do they meet each other?
Yeah, I mean, one lesbian bar in the whole of the UK is pretty bad going. I mean, the other side of the same coin is, of course, is that gay people, don't feel the need necessarily to be ghettoised these days and are just as likely to go out for a drink in their local than they are into a sort of dedicated gay or lesbian venue. And that's sort of indicative of a wider acceptance in society, isn't it?
Absolutely. And I definitely, you know, I recognize that there is massive progression that has taken place, although in some ways one wouldn't think so when it comes to the recent headlines in the news, that particularly around trans people. You know, there was something said recently that, you know, we have to be careful about ensuring that all who fall under the LGBTQIA plus umbrella are being included. And I hear what you're saying about acceptance in amongst society at large, but also for lesbians and for women who identify as queer, what about those spaces where they are exclusively theirs, where they can, you know, integration and assimilation, for want of a better word, is sometimes really is a goal and a thing to reach for, obviously, because we want to just be able to go about our lives and to access spaces like anyone does and be able to be with whom we want to be with. But sometimes being in an environment where there is a collective energy and spirit and understanding and identity is really important. That's why we have the plethora of gay clubs and gay up and down bands, but lesbians don't have that.
So back to the play itself, Ministry of Lesbian Affairs. You play a character called Bridge. Can you tell us a little bit about her and how she fits into this story?
She is one of the sort of early members of the choir. So she's one of the core members, along with Connie, our conductor, and Ellie, who's a young, sort of very energetic, very spirited lesbian woman in the choir. And yeah, so she's there. She's sort of quite reliable. She's a lawyer. She she's quite steadfast, and she's quite measured, and yeah, and then kind of responds to the new energy when the new choir members join and enter, and sort of engages with that. She's also there's a character in the play called Fee, and she has a bit of a sort of kinship with her, a little bit of a there's something blooming there, potentially blossoming. Like there's interest there, and the conversation is quite prevalent when you watch the scenes, that there's a charge between them, and it's beautiful to kind of play that out and see Bridget's journey. And then as it starts to show the cracks, Fee's character sort of is impacted by those cracks, as are everyone else's character in the play, and we start to see the deconstruction of those arguments taking place. And I should say at this point that Bridget is a trans woman.
Yeah.
She's a lesbian, but she's a trans woman, and is wholeheartedly embraced by the choir at large. But then as the cracks start to appear, you start to see people's individual perceptions and narratives and angles on some of the issues that are existing within the lesbian choir, and our identities and transness, and all of that is put into the mix. So it's a really powerful, funny, it is really funny, musical. There's lots of songs in it that are just funny as hell, deeply moving, and really impressive, actually. I mean, we've got some incredible voices in this choir. It's a joy to be part of it. So I'm really excited to kind of bring Bridge to audiences as part of this incredible band of women.
There was something I wanted to ask. It's about a news story that's recently broken, and because you're the first actor I've interviewed since it broke, I'm afraid you're lumbered with it, and it is this. Apparently, the Only Way is Essex star, Gemma Collins, has been cast in the touring production of Chicago, and she's no actor. Now, some people say that that's good news because it attracts people who otherwise might not have gone to the theatre, and bums on seats are really important. But on the other hand, there's a lot of actors out there who could really do with the work, and proper actors. So I just wondered whether you had a view on that.
Oh, I think it's really interesting, because I don't have skin in the game in terms of musical theatre. It's really hard because obviously I'm aware of profile and platform and the kind of the sort of audiences that can bring, but I can also obviously appreciate that lots of trained musical theatre actors might also want those opportunities themselves. I think it'd be a question for maybe someone in that actual arena, because it is a really different industry, almost, the musical theatre world. I mean, there is a definite crossover, and there's people who are very talented in both fields. But I think for those kind of shows, those big musical theatre shows, yeah, I wouldn't be seen for a part in a show like that, really, because I'm not a musical theatre actor, and I'm not someone with that kind of status. But yeah, I really don't know what that answer would be. I really, really don't. We're living in an interesting time in 2022 where, people want to have audiences coming in, and especially post-COVID, there's kind of appetite to do that. So who knows what the right answer is? I certainly don't. It's not my kind of field.
Right, Mariah, the time has come. It's time, folks, for our quick fire round, where we ask Mariah a handful of questions so we can get to know her a little bit better. Question 1, beach holiday or city break?
Beach holiday.
Yeah, I think that's probably the correct answer. I think we could all do with just relaxing for a week or two on the beach with a good book. Now, the next poser, cheese or chocolate? That's cheese or chocolate?
Oh, I would say cheese.
Yeah, well, I've been doing this for quite a long time, answering with startling unoriginality the same questions, and I have to say, when people say cheese, I think they might be lying. Okay, so now let's get down to the business end. Netflix and chill or party till dawn?
Netflix and chill.
All of which leads me to our final probing quickfire question. Down and dirty or soft and sensual? That's down and dirty or soft and sensual, Mariah.
Oh, I think there's room for both, but I
Oh
would
my
say,
God, so many people say both.
well, okay, I will say down and dirty.
Well, down and dirty it is, and why ever not? Now, sadly, Mariah, the clock has beaten us. Thank you so much for joining us. Have the best of luck with the Ministry of Lesbian Affairs, which opens, folks, on the 5th of May at London's Soho Theatre. And for this production and everything else you do in the future, Mariah, let me wish you much love, luck, and happiness. Thank you.
Thank you. Very lovely to talk to you.